Many procedures in the chemistry laboratory require the separation of solids from liquids, and one of the approaches to doing that is using an appropriate filter paper. And this is paper designed to have certain chemical characteristics so that it won't interfere with any subsequent testing. But we simply need to prepare it for use. Typically, we're going to filter the liquid through a funnel, and we have to prepare the filter paper to go into that funnel by folding it over once. And you'll notice I'm wearing gloves. It's not because the paper is hazardous, it's so that any oils or anything on my hands won't get onto the filter paper itself and contaminate any subsequent reactions. So I make a nice crease across there after I've folded it in half, and then I'm going to fold it almost in quarters. And I say almost, and there's a reason for that. But again, you'll notice I'm using my fingers to make a crease, and you can see that there is a slight offset here to this. And the reason for that offset is so that when I put the filter paper in the funnel, it will fit precisely. So now I'm going to open this up and lightly bend back those creases, and now I can slide the filter paper into the funnel. Now, most procedures are going to require that we have the surface wetted. Obviously, if we're not using water in the procedure, we'll use another liquid to wet the filter paper, but we'll assume that this one is just for water. And what I do is simply take a squeeze bottle and moisten it lightly, because the material that we're going to be filtering is water-based, so the water is not going to interfere. What the water does, it helps the filter paper adhere to the funnel so that now we can pour material into the filter paper and funnel, and it will hold back any solid that we might want to use for later analysis, or simply clarify the liquid that filters through, and we would measure the liquid for whatever the substance was. Or in fact, we could do both. Another type of filtering that we could do, separate from this, is using a Buchner funnel. And this is a small version of the Buchner funnel, and you'll notice there are a bunch of small holes in the bottom. Primarily, these are used for filtering various types of materials. It's probably best to separate the funnel, as I've just done, to inspect and make sure that it's clean inside, and then put the cover back on, and then take the appropriate small piece of filter paper and put that inside. In this case, that piece of filter paper is a little bit too large. So what we would do would be to simply take some scissors, trim it, and drop it into the bottom prior to the filtering. This would then be set up in an appropriate apparatus to carry out the filtering process itself. The crucible, and if appropriate, we put that cover back in place to allow it to cool. And that's the end of the process. But remember, this is going to stay hot for several minutes after you're finished. So take care, because that heat is sufficient to give you a severe burn on your hands or whatever touches it.